So, John, the province recently announced that they are extending the declaration of emergency into May. Your response on this?
Well, I respect what the province is doing because they take their direction from Ontario Public Health. And of course, they work closely with one another. And I've learned, like everybody else, that because COVID-19 and because the cases in some circumstances are still rising, I'm assuming they're erring on caution. And based on that, they extended it, I believe, to May the 12th is the date I've heard. So approximately, depending how you look at it, it could be for about another 4 weeks or 28 days.
How does this affect the town and your emergency planning as you continue to roll on through this?
Well, the bottom line is we'll continue to meet 7 days a week we meet every day of the week, depending what the issue is. That just means we're gearing up for certainly another 4+ weeks as we handle the different directives, health orders, emergency orders that are constantly coming out, both federally and provincially. We seem to get 2 or 3 every day. So the onus would be upon our emergency control group to decipher those, to understand those, and then to make sure we implement them carefully and, more importantly, communicate a clear message to our community.
How hard is it to get that communication out? Because I know that last week you put up signs to help people understand what they can and can't do. And one of the ones that you'd put on there was that you can have a fire as long as you are following the rules and the bylaws within the town. But many people were commenting that there was a fire ban on, not knowing that the ban was for more Northern Ontario. So how is it hard to keep those clear and get the message out to residents?
Well, we're doing we're using every social media platform we have, which is substantial. For that, I'd like to thank Ashley Purdy, our communications manager. We do a number of press releases. We're using our ad block constantly and the Northumberland News. We're doing interviews such as this. We're doing updates, radio station interviews. So we're pretty much covering the gamut. And that, again, is where we just have to be consistent because at this point, to your question of fire burn, Northumberland County has exempted itself by recommendation of the fire chiefs. And again, that will just have to be monitored because the bottom line is we don't want our resources, for example, going out to fight a number of grass fires as an example, when they could be using their emergency services in so many other needed ways with COVID-19. So that's something that will depend on our fire chiefs collectively in Northumberland to monitor that situation with us. But right now, you're right. It's just trying to get out that consistent messaging, what is taking place.
So how are the residents doing, John?
I'm sorry?
I said, how are the residents doing following the rules and that have been laid out by the emergency group?
Well, as I shared last night, for those who may have been watching our virtual council meeting, I gave accolades to our Cobourg citizens. Everywhere I've been, walking my dog or just for a breath of fresh air on occasion, I see everybody following those health public regulations. I see everybody being polite. I see everybody going above and beyond, being a little bit patient. More affirming, positive accolades, doing little things in the community. So again, from my perspective, I can't say enough about our citizens. I believe they're taking this to heart. They're following public regulations. They're listening. They're adhering to practices. And for that, our council and from our emergency control group, we're very thankful.
Coming out of that council meeting, John, leading me into my next question is the fact that you've had to make the decision on the recommendation of having to reduce the bus schedule once again. Can you let the residents know what the new changes will be?
Sure, I'll try to read them slowly. And I must say, this is where council has to do a balancing act because in one sense, we realize It's an essential service to many within our community. And at the same time, we're doing the metric of measuring how many people are riding our transit and trying to find what is the best balance. So based on the reduction of people riding our transit, it's down approximately 50%. So based on that, we're going to try these new times. I'll read them carefully for you with the hope that, again, I want to strike that we're heading the right balance. So on Route 1, it will operate Monday to Friday from 7:15 to 5:45 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday from 8:45 until 3:45. On Route 2, again, Monday through Friday, it will operate 7:15 to 9:45 and 3:30 to 5:45 as well. And then on Saturday, 8:45 to 3:45. The one day we are cutting out is Sunday, and that again is based on metrics. In terms of the wheel transit, it will operate Monday to Friday from 6:45 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Saturday, 8:30 till 4:30 p.m. and again with no service on Sunday. And again, we have the consistent appointments that most people are used to using to call for appointments for Wills Transit. And if they need that number, it's 905-373-0582. And of course, through Public Works, through metrics, and through council, we'll continually monitor this. It may change a number of times. We're hoping not, because we know if we change it too often, we're certainly going to create confusion for our members in the community. And we're not trying to create that at all. Again, we're just trying to find a balance. So this will be up. It's already out as a press release. And I would like to think the hours would be adjusted accordingly for those who are trying to find out, well, what are the hours? I also want to remind citizens that because of COVID-19, we have an 8-person restriction on our regular buses. We're trying to enforce that, not only for the protection of those riding the bus, but also for the protection of our drivers so that we can maintain social distancing rules, even though it's on transit.
John, we all know the last week, what the last weekend of April brings, the last Saturday of April brings, and that means it's the opening of trout season. Have you approached the ministry yourself? Because I know the municipality of Port Hope has to possibly put a delay on the opening of the season, because we all know the influx of fishermen that come into the community on that last Saturday of April.
Well, we know fishing season is not far away. You're quite right. It's only about a week away, and I'm sure they're anxious because I live near Factory Creek or Cobourg Creek, and the fish are already running, and wonderful sight actually to behold. But with that being said, they're the questions I'm going to be asking our MPP, David Piccini, this Friday. As you may or may not know, all mayors in Northumberland, Peterborough South have a virtual conference every week with the MPP. On my list is fishing, because as far as we've been told at this point, fishing season is not been reduced to our understanding by the province. In fact, it could be even promoted. But here comes the dilemma, because what we're trying to find out as a municipality, how do we deal with that when we say that our parks are not for recreational activities? So it's going to be an interesting questioning, clarification with our member of parliament. I'll have more information come this Friday, and you can see the concerns that may cost for the municipality, because on the one hand, we're trying to be respectful of fishing and hunting season, which is around the corner for bear season, I believe. And at the same time, being very respectful of our citizens who are trying to adhere to Parks and Recs under the emergency, which lasts till May 12th. So you can see that the two may not totally align. And the question is, how does our group, the emergency control group, deal with that and get the information out to the public? So I can assure you I have those questions listed for Mr. Pacini coming this Friday.
If the answer is that fishing season goes ahead as normal, what will the town have to put into place starting next Saturday to be able to combat if the numbers come that usually come into the town of Fishermen?
Well, obviously, we're going to have to maintain higher health standards. If we have numbers come in, I know when that happened in past, we ensured that a washing hand station was located in the higher site areas. We also ensured that we have portable washrooms available for use because of health and safety concerns. And there's the issue of enforcement. And at this point, most fisheries are under MNR enforcement. So the question to be asked is, as a town, do we have any latitude by use of our bylaw or Cobourg Police Service officers in any way? So again, lots of questions for clarification. I do not have those answers. And similarly, we're going to be asking the question upcoming I heard the target date of May 2nd. We're going to be asking the same questions, or I will be asking the same questions about farmers market, because again, farmers market is coming. My understanding from the province, it's deemed to be an essential service because of the food component. So the question is, how do we allow an essential service, again, within our parks, and still allow for and not enforcing, but maintaining social and physical social distancing. So again, these are the challenges that our emergency control group will deal with. And you can see how quickly we have to move to get the information out consistently to the community as to, again, what is accepted, what is not accepted.
It certainly is a slippery slope that the town has to follow, John. Continue on to a good news story, and that is currently right now, I know that the doors are physically closed over Adventure 13 in the Makers Lab, but it was just announced earlier this week some great news coming out of there, and that is with the manufacturing of face shields that is now happening over at Adventure 13.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I don't know if anybody saw this besides us, but it just is a really great news story. I want to compliment, if you see the list, there must be, I'm glancing at it now, there must be 20 businesses or organizations, individuals who've made a major contribution to either doing 3D printing. So as you indicated, we can have a number of face shields developed, put together right here in Cobourg. We also have rapid prototyping and production for other PPE equipment. And it just goes to show in very challenging times how a community comes together for the betterment of the community. And again, I can't thank these individuals and groups enough. And again, please remember, they're doing this on their own merit, on their own time, because they just feel it's the right thing to do. So again, I want to point out to you, they do have under Venture 13 a GoFundMe campaign. I realize not everybody can do this at this time. Some people are struggling just to make basics. But if you're able to, I do want to encourage you to go to the GoFundMe campaign. And what it indicates is that they will use the funds to do the different productions they're doing. Right now, it's at their own cost. And any unused funds will then later be given to Northumberland Hills Hospital in Cobourg or to the hospital in Campbellford. So to me, a win-win all the way around. And it's just another magical moment where this to me is what makes Cobourg such a unique community. I'm not saying it's not done in other communities, but this has always been the foundation of our community when people and our volunteers step up.